Hayley, how you doing?
Hello. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thanks for joining me today. I know it's super sunny and hot outside, so I'm sure
It's
you.
pretty amazing. I keep thinking I should be toddling off to a swimming pool somewhere.
Yeah, might have to just get a little paddling pool in the garden and
Yeah.
make do with that.
My garden is full of rocks though, so I'm always worried a paddling pool's going to split. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe just stick my feet in a bucket.
yeah,
That's what I will
that'd be
go
nice
and
and
do.
cool. Yeah, it's a good idea. Like we'll do for now, a bit of a cocktail, feet in the bucket. So
Yeah.
cool. But no, thanks so much for joining. A lot of people know of you anyway because you're really kind of out there in the industry and kind of with your Hospitality Proud campaign, which we can see in the background there. But just for any of those that might not know who you are, could you just give us a bit of an intro as to who you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm head of people for Brewhouse Kitchen. I've been doing that job for the past 5 years, and it's been a really fun journey. And also, I'm co-founder of a small networking group called Beers and Peers. So a lot of what I do in life is around beer and people, which is pretty good.
Not too bad, is it?
No, not too bad.
Right. So when did we first meet? Was it
We
2 or
met
3
at
years
the
ago now?
I think we had I knew of you anyway, but we met at the Inspire conference.
Yeah, their Workplace X conference, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we had dinner together and drank wine, which was
How long
nice.
ago was that now? Was it about 3 years ago?
God, no, Chad, it was last year that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
A
So
lot
I've
has happened.
only known Carly was there as well. I've only
Yeah,
known
she was.
Carly a
Yeah.
year now. So
Yeah, and Ollie was talking at that one, wasn't he? Ollie.
yeah, Ollie did a talk on the Working Chance,
Yes.
which was brilliant. Yeah,
he did really well. So no, it was a good conference, that one. But it seems like ages ago, but clearly not as long as I thought it was. And I think it's because so much has happened between then and now. But
yeah.
so I guess on that, I mean, how did you get to where you are? What's your kind of story as to where it all began?
So I started work in the industry really quite young. I was 14, but I guess before that I came from a background of actors. So my mum, my dad, not so much my mum, she was a makeup artist, but my dad, my brother and my sister, my granddad were all in the acting field.
Oh, wow.
And my dad also was in hospitality as well. So he was twofold. When he wasn't sort of in the acting world, he was running pubs. And I was really rubbish at acting. So my brother and sister all went off to drama school and to pursue that career, and both did really well. I had 2 left feet and couldn't sing and was a terrible actor. So I ended up working in my dad's pub, but also another pub near my mum's house.
Okay.
At the age of 14, just starting in the kitchen, pot washing, and then climbing, I guess, the ladder in the kitchen. So I went on to starters and went on to, I guess, the grill as well. Then on to running my own kitchen shifts, which was great.
How old were you when you were running shifts?
I must have been about 15, 16 when I was
Wow.
running kitchen shifts. Yeah. Now, what I would say, that was at, so there was 2 pubs. My dad's pub had, I guess, more of a French cuisine, and I only really ever pot washed there and maybe did a bit of prep. It was a little bit more culinary than the other pub. The other pub was proper pub food. So jacket potatoes, ham, egg and chips, steak, all day breakfasts. It was pretty amazing, and that was the pub I used to sort of run the kitchen on my own. And when there may have been a couple of us in the kitchen, but the majority of the time you were sort of solo working.
Still good going at 15 years old, eh?
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, yeah, it was. I think there was just less. I don't know if I was just unknowledgeable at that point on health and safety regulations and all that sort of stuff. I obviously did a lot of food safety training and stuff like that, but yeah, 15 years old, working in the kitchen on your own, it's kind of not what you would expect today.
Yeah, it may not get
But
away
I
with it so
think
much
things have
now.
progressed, haven't they?
Yeah, just a little bit.
But you know what? It was a learning experience, and I really, really enjoyed it. My aim was always to get onto the bar, though. That was what I wanted to do. And when I was 17, both pubs actually allowed me to progress onto the bar, so I was really, really happy with that.
Yeah, yeah.
Continued on the career ladder really at that point. I went off to uni because that was kind of the done thing to do back then. So I went off to uni and I studied pubs.
Okay.
Licensed retail.
Hospitality management.
It was hospitality management, but I picked the licensed retail, which was really good. And I got my personal license at uni, which was great. So they did all of that for free. Well, not for free, I paid a lot of money for the entire course, but you know what I mean. It was part of the course, so I got that. And we also did consultancy projects as well with real pub groups, and that's how I met my current boss, who is Chris.
Okay.
So he was actually a guest lecturer at the uni. He still does it today, but he also did the consultancy project that I was part of. So yeah, we met then and kept in touch. I specialised probably when I was 22 in the HR field. So I was at IHG at the time.
Yeah.
And I was on their graduate programme, which is brilliant. And you sort of do a round robin of all the departments. It's the first time I had abs because I did a few months in housekeeping, or a few weeks, can't remember how many.
Yeah, I can't imagine how hard housekeeping must be.
Yeah, it's really hard, but I did find it quite fun. It's almost like a challenge, you know, you've got 24 minutes to clean a room, off you go. And then it was good. It is very hard work. I don't know how people do it for years and years on end. But
Like
they're always
shoulders like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, and it's all the lifting of the beds and like wrapping the pillows and stuff like that. But I think learning to make a bed properly is a really, really good skill.
Yeah,
I personally think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You do it every day pretty much, don't you? So.
Yeah, totally. And if you make your bed in the morning, you feel so much better when you get into bed at night, don't you? So yeah, that was something I learned at IHG along with a load of other things. But yeah, I specialised at that point in HR. And then I took my first HR job at a company called Antic London.
Yeah.
So first HR manager role. It was actually the first HR role they had. Potentially I jumped a little too early. I hadn't done my CIPD at that point or anything like that, but it was a baptism of fire. I learned.
Best way sometimes, though.
Yeah, it could have gone either way though. It could have gone either. So I was about 24 at the time. I went straight into helping them with the tribunal actually. Okay. So yeah, it was pretty intense. But I learned a lot, and I think a lot of my behaviours come from that time where I was really trying to figure out things. I thought I knew everything. I knew like that much, and I learned a hell of a lot whilst I was there, and it was pretty incredible. I then went to the restaurant group because I kind of felt, I've had this time with this really entrepreneurial business. I've had to stand on my own 2 feet. So I've been standalone HR manager. I've really had to figure things out. And I could do with a bit of mentoring. Mm-hmm. So I went to the TRG, the restaurant group, and I worked underneath Rebecca Meek, who I think you know from... Yeah, so she was brilliant, and she's an incredible HR manager. I still contact her today and ask questions because she's such a specialist, especially in that employee relation area. And yeah, I learned so much from her, but I also got to focus a lot on the learning and development side as well. Okay. And I think TRG really undersold themselves as a good employer, because they weren't really a leading brand in the sense of that people stuff, but actually what they did for their people was pretty amazing. And I learned so much from them as well in terms of their MIT programs. They have a 12-week induction as a general manager before you even step into site. So much of their leadership stuff. So a guy called John Kelly there was really good with all the leadership and management training. So I learned a lot from him. I was only
great
there
stuff, just not shouting about it enough.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I think people consider TRG as very corporate and this big machine, but actually they have some really special and very talented people working for them, and they really did have an emphasis on people, I thought. I did end up leaving though, just because Chris gave me a call at a point where I guess things were changing at TRG. They had quite a few restructures at the time, and it felt like the appropriate time for me to move on. And that's when I landed at Brewhouse Kitchen, and they brought me there. So yeah, quick whistle-stop tour of Hayley's career journey.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So I mean, and what's fantastic is that someone that you made contact with at university all those years later, you know, still in touch with, and ended up being, you know, a great
so we always used to bump into each other at the Bournemouth University alumni events. So yeah, he went to Bournemouth Uni as well as a student. And actually we've since gone on to run consultancy projects with Brewhouse Kitchen and met some really nice students along the way as well.
So taking it back to the beginning for you guys as well.
Yeah, it's really nice to go back to your uni and it's nostalgia at the end of the day, isn't it? So it was hard. I'm not particularly an academic person, to be honest, so I was pleased to have a practical course to focus on when I was at uni.
I mean, it did sound like a really good course, the fact that you get your license and everything, and you've clearly gone on to use almost everything about your course in your career, which is not everything.
Definitely. I think some of it didn't really click until I was actually sort of working with the subjects in practice. So looking back at my uni days, I didn't do so well at critical thinking, for example, but now as an HR person, you have to use that skill set all the time. So if I could go back and redo that module and just up my mark a bit, I probably would. I think I'd boss it now.
I think it's a bit like learning to drive a car, though, isn't it? You do what you need to do to get your license, and then once you're on the road and let loose on your own, that's kind of when you properly start to learn.
Yeah, that's when the real learning starts, and everyone learns differently, right? And I'm just very kinesthetic and have to be doing it to actually allow it to sink in. And that's why I did my CIPD late as well. I just couldn't bring myself to do the studying without having that practical experience too.
Yeah, I did my CIPD last year, and get that studying alongside work and everything was quite intense, but really, really good to do. So lots of great brands under your belt over the last few years, and some of the stuff that you've been doing with Brewhouse Kitchen is brilliant. You've really great initiatives and things. So if you can, what would you say has kind of been your most memorable or maybe biggest achievement? You don't necessarily have to be overall, because there's probably quite a few, but at least one that stands out for you.
I think I have to say, just working for Brewhouse Kitchen, it's been a real achievement for me. And I started when we were five sites, like the fifth and sixth were in their really early stages of opening. And now we're 22 sites. I haven't said that in such a long time that I've forgotten how many sites we have. We've got the 23rd on its way. And just that scale up process, we scaled super fast. We did 19 openings in 3 years on a pretty lean team.
That's impressive.
And building that culture, building all of the people infrastructure, making sure people feel safe in their roles, right the way through to developing award-winning training programs. That's been an incredible journey, and something I'm super proud of. So also working with brewers as well, because I never worked with such a technical role before, and I had to really learn about brewing beer, which isn't a bad thing to learn, obviously.
No. Have you tried it yet? Tried it on your own yet?
I have. It didn't go so well. But I have done some brew experience days with Brewhouse Kitchen, and just making sure a brewer is there to make sure I don't make any weird potions is probably a good thing. The home go didn't go too well.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever tried it, but definitely a good skill to have. So 19 restaurants or pubs in 3 years is a great effort. So what's been the biggest lesson for you in your time with Brewhouse?
I think it's just giving things a go. That sounds probably quite, so trying to explain it, just giving things a go. I think when I worked for the bigger companies like IHG and TRG, you'd almost try and perfect something, and you'd pilot things and really shape them before you launch them out into the business to get that buy-in, which I still think is important. And now we're bigger, we're using some of those techniques a little bit more. But actually in our early days, we needed to build fast, and actually getting almost some sort of simple and basic version of what we wanted to do out there first, and then improving it and building on it and fixing the bits that didn't work. That's what allowed us to scale with speed. So that's something I really learned quite early on. Now we pilot stuff, but we still use that a little bit. We're like, right, 2 weeks, let's build, let's get that solution ready and push it out there, and then just go through that iterative change process.
They're still working with speed, but maybe just on a smaller group of people.
Smaller group of people first, and then spread it out. But it's kind of, I think it's the same right now. We've launched leadership well-being modules and leadership, we're calling them the Being Human leadership program for our GMs, and they're 12 sessions on leadership stuff, which actually probably would have taken about 12 months to get sorted if we were in I guess non-COVID world. But we just thought, right, let's do them, let's get them out there, and we write them the week before and launch them, and we're just going through them and getting feedback as we go and improving upon them that way. And I think you just get a lot more done when you just give it a go.
Yeah, I completely agree. And is that something that that leadership thing that's ongoing at the moment? So you've been doing it while
so we do so every other week we run small working groups, so they're on Zoom, but we run them workshop style, so people have to really engage and interact with it. We do polls, we do discussions, we do all of that sort of stuff. And then every other week we have a lecture style, which is a big, almost operational topic on business planning or sales planning or talent management, and things like that. So yeah, all of the GMs and the ops and the business support get on those ones together. So yeah, it's going really well. We've had great engagement from the managers on it. We've got quite a few assistant managers joining us as well, because they're intrigued by it too. But yeah, I think it's the fact that we just went, okay, let's just do it. Let's not faff around with it, and let's crack on, because we need to be. It's more important to be communicating and developing people right now than it is to be panicking about the content almost.
And I think what this whole COVID situation has done for a lot of businesses and a lot of industries is really make them realize how quickly they can actually do stuff if they kind of put their minds to it.
Yeah, definitely. I think hopefully that's something that will continue once we get back to, I say normal, I'm hoping some sort of normal. We continue to innovate as an industry, because it's been really exciting. I did the Pizza Pilgrims pizza box the other day. That was so much fun, and it's something I'll definitely do, even if I can visit a Pizza Pilgrims in the future. I'll buy their pizza in a box as well and take it home and make it myself.
That's brilliant. There's a few home kits and kind of home meals and things, aren't there? I think Honest and Coat and a few other places are doing home food as well, so we're not missing out.
I need to try Honest Burgers actually. I haven't done that one yet. I got Grinds coffee, which was really nice the other day, so that's good.
Very good. Keeping them going.
Keeping them in the business,
Great. So there's so much going on at the moment, and it's great to hear that you're continuing to develop your people, even though they're not even in their pubs at the moment. So because I think last time I saw you before this happened was at the Harry X conference, wasn't it? When we were both doing our talks.
The most nerve-wracking experience ever, right?
Yeah, your first talk, but you did brilliantly. It was really, really good.
Thank you. Yours was great too.
despite the technical issues.
Oh, well, it was on tech, and we won't accept technical issues.
Yes, yeah, but no, it was a really great event, and yeah, like I say, considering it was your first talk, I thought you did great, and yeah, some really interesting points as well. Just the way you focus on engagement and data and everything like that. So, I mean, in terms of what you do now for Brewhouse and Kitchen, like, do you think this situation is going to change any of what you were talking about before, or any of the way that you've done things previously?
Yeah, I think we'll definitely continue virtually with a lot of training. I've always been, I guess, traditional in the sense that I feel like getting people in a room together, just, you know, there's magic that happens when you learn human to human. And I actually think that can still happen virtually now. And I also think that our team members, I would go anywhere when I was younger to train. I would, you know, I would get up at 4 a.m. in the morning to go to a training session. I'd absolutely love it. But I don't think everyone's like that. And actually some of the traveling isn't what people want. Right. So I actually think we'll be able to train a lot more people. People will be more engaged in learning within hospitality if we can stop some of that travel scenario. So yeah, we're definitely going to move. For example, our induction is face-to-face for our entire team. We're going to move that virtually.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so we actually get a lot of people not coming along to that purely because it takes them maybe an hour to travel to the place where they need to train. Managers, no problem, they'll travel that distance, but I think team members are like, nah, that's not what I want to be doing. That's not what I signed up to this job for. So yeah, we're moving that virtually. And what I've learned is virtual can be really interactive and can be really personable still. Yeah. A lot of our leadership stuff as well for our GMs, we pull them out of the business so much for meetings and project work and business and sales building activities. Actually, the learning stuff can be done virtually and bite-sized, and I think bite-sized is really important for people in really busy leadership roles.
Yeah, the general managers, the operations managers, they have so many things to contend with on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. So taking that time out to overload them with information can be a bit of a challenge sometimes. So yeah, bite-sized sounds like a good way to go. That's great. So some real interesting changes coming off the back of this.
Yeah.
So
it's exciting.
On a slightly different topic, but kind of still related to the t-shirt that's behind you, I can't not talk about Beers and Beers and Hospitality Proud. I mean, the Hospitality Proud campaign just took off. It landed at exactly the right time, and everyone's got behind it, which is great. So tell us a little bit more about that and how it's going.
Yeah, so I guess it's back to the beginning. So we started Beers and Peers in June last year. And it was purely just actually, you know, I'm in a standalone HR role. I have a small team with me. Carly is standalone HR as well. We just wanted to chat people and culture and have a beer with like-minded people. It's difficult to talk HR with your friends sometimes, so having that network around you was really good, and that sort of grew. And our second meetup actually got a lot bigger, so we had about, I think it was about 30 people in the room in Highbury, actually Brewhouse and Kitchen Highbury. And what we do is we always run workshops, so we have a couple of speakers there, but the whole idea of it is you do the talking. We're going to learn from each other. There isn't any, I guess, hierarchy in terms of speakers. We're all here to have a voice and to get something across. And what we found was when you put people in a pub and you give them a beer or a drink, they really relax and you get some really, really amazing ideas. And actually Hospitality Proud came out of that first workshop. The people that came along were like, we just need something to get behind, and like some sort of hashtag or campaign where we just go, this is who we are and this is what we want to do, and you know, we share that just beyond the industry. So it goes outside of the industry and we get our friends to talk about it, our dads, our mums, our sons and daughters, and get them hospitality proud too. So we worked on it. The idea was simmering for a while, and I think in January we got together with Lee Melton was there and Nick Clover, and we sat around a table, and it's like, right, we need a logo. So we drew a logo really quickly, and then we ordered 800 t-shirts and that was it. And that was a couple of weeks before the Harry conference. We launched it at our Beers and Peers event, which I think was on the 12th of February from what I remember, and it just started growing from there. And of course, a couple of weeks later, I think it was Priti Patel came on TV calling us low skilled and all that sort of stuff, and that's when the campaign really got momentum. And I remember talking at the Harry X event, and it really sort of resonated with people. And
by then so many people were already aware of it, and like I say, it was only a couple of weeks in.
So it's really it really has helped, I think, with making sure that people are all singing from the same hymn sheet, and that we're all galvanized, and there's been this, I guess, collaborative and authentic effort by everyone in the industry to go, you know, actually hospitality is a great career, it's not low skilled, and we're really proud of our industry and who we all are. I do think as we return from COVID, I think it's got a bit quieter, to be honest, on the hospitality proud front. But no one's out there, and you know, we're not working right now. We're all pretty much furloughed. I think once we're back in business, I do think there's an opportunity there to sort of bring it back to the forefront and actually get the general public to go, I've missed my local pub, I've missed the restaurant I used to go to with my mum every Saturday. Actually, the hospitality industry is really, really important for our overall well-being, because you know, we do underestimate that. Actually, we really connect people as an industry, and we put smiles on people's faces, we allow them to escape from reality. We're probably as important as those wellness and mindfulness sessions that you have out there. In a different way, we offer that social well-being, which is really, really important, and people are missing that right now.
I think all you got to do is
doesn't do it for you, does it?
No, not quite in the same way, and I think you just got to look at it.
So I do think there's an opportunity there to actually get the public to go, no, we're hospitality proud, and we want to support our restaurants, our pubs. You know, we're never going to be a lobbying group, Beers and Peers. We're just passionate people that want to try and make a difference. But you know, we've got great companies and organisations like UK Hospitality to do that. A lot of our CEOs do that, which is great. So
No, I think, like I say, I think it was a great campaign, and probably going to be more relevant than ever once all of this starts getting back to whatever the new normal is. So it's great. And obviously I think that's one thing that myself and the guys that I work with on the higher side of things, you know, we know that hospitality is really open to collaboration and actually loves getting together and sharing ideas and coming up with ways of working together.
It's so interesting because we can be so competitive, can't we? But at the same time, there's always this sense of comradeship and, you know, collaboration, which is really nice.
And everyone loves a chance to go for a drink. So
yeah, totally. And that's the thing, you know, you're competitive in business hours, but at the end of the day, we all drink with the people that we compete with at the same time, don't we?
Exactly. Yeah, all friends.
Yeah.
So a couple of questions that I kind of want to find out from you.
Sure.
What is it that, in terms of if you could go back to when you were younger, what piece of advice would you give to your younger self?
I think this is a really difficult question. I think it's stick with things and persevere. And then always, I think in my early career, I focused on the money, and that's maybe why I hopped around a little bit too much, is always trying to get that next pay rise. Whereas actually, if I persevered with it and kept to my purpose, which was I just want to work in hospitality and I like to make people happy, then I probably would have earned more by focusing on that just at a different time frame. So yeah, definitely perseverance and focus on your purpose over how much money you're earning.
Absolutely. And that's your purpose, to make people happy.
Yeah, I think so. Sorry, I know you asked that question. I did write some notes on my purpose. I think purpose is such a big question, but thinking about it, you know, I put a lot of, I guess, energy into just bringing people together and trying to make people feel welcome. And I think that stems from working early in the industry, and having quite, you know, a family that focused on hospitality as well.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm driven by. Not necessarily trying to take over the world with my purpose. It's just trying to make people feel welcome.
Yeah. No, having a positive impact on the people that you come into contact with.
Totally.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah.
And who would you say either has or does inspire you?
This is going to sound cheesy, but I think it sounds cheesy for anyone. I think I've mentioned different people in other interviews I've done, but I'd have to say my husband, Jack, right now. So he works in healthcare,
Mm-hmm.
And he always has time for me, and spends a lot of time, you know, when I'm trying to do projects like Hospitality Proud or Beers and Peers. He's really the person that I bounce those ideas around with, in my home. And we debate. He calls it arguing, but we debate about it, and I always end up with something really, really quite good. And that presentation I did at HIREX, he can take quite a lot of credit for that, because he was up till 2 a.m. in the morning with me the night before, just calming me down and stopping me winding myself up, which he's great.
Good teamwork then.
Yes, absolutely.
Brilliant. Well, conscious of the time and that it's still lovely outside, so don't want to keep you from the sunshine for too much longer. So I think we can wrap it up there. But thanks so much for your time.
That's
really
all right. I'd love to return the favour and interview you at some point as well for the Hospitality Proud stuff.
Yeah, because you've got your interviews going on as well, haven't you?
Yeah, we do. So yeah, let's do that.
Sounds good. Sounds good to me. Brilliant. Well, no, well, hopefully see you soon, but we'll definitely be keeping in touch anyway. But yeah, have a great rest of the day, and I'll catch up with you soon, Hayley.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye.
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 Do I just leave this now? Or?
It's all right. Ready?